Hi guys, and welcome back to the Ride Right Waxing and UK One Wheel channel. So carrying on the mini theme, I'm actually going to be replacing out this OMP flat bottom steering wheel and my full steering column with a Go Race quick release mechanism and a new steering column all the way down through to the floor, which means I've got to take all this housing off, all the indicator, wipers, electrics, etc., and also the ignition barrel. So that should be interesting. Never done it before. And putting a brand new OMP 350mm round steering wheel on with a yellow strip at the top. And the reason for replacing that, I bought this steering wheel in good faith thinking it was actually a genuine steering wheel. It is a very nice steering wheel, looks very, very nice, but look at the flex on this, look. This, it should not do this. And when you're driving, it's very disconcerting. So this is going to make a little bit of wall art, unfortunately. Like I say, done like a kipper, but bought a genuine OMP one from OMP themselves. And we're going to get that fitted. So stay tuned. Let's have a quick look at the steering wheel and the steering Go Race quick release rack, or column, should we say, on the bench. And we're going to strip this out, put you on time lapse, and see how easy it is to fit. So stay tuned. One new OMP full round 350mm semi-dished, as you can see there, steering wheel. And the reason for that, the gear lever and the steering wheel, I'm trying to bring obviously closer to the driver, hence why the CAD internal gear linkage change. If you haven't seen that video, then do quickly click into my video. Don't forget though, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and I'm going to be bringing a lot more mini content to you. But this is a Go Race steering column internals. Obviously I've fitted a steering column into my mini before, but I've never really taken it apart and fitting the internals. So this basically springs up, allowing the steering wheel to come off, and obviously there's ball bearings that hold it in place. I've seen this basically on a lot of the mini Migler racing cars, and it's just really, really cool, and it adds another level of security as well. So nice and trick, nice and well engineered. I'm going to get that inside my new, or should I say my old steering column external tubing. I've got plenty of grease. We're going to get that lubed up and slide it in. So let's get the time lapse and break it down. Okay, so steering column is out of the car. We had two Phillips screwdrivers holding the cladding, the nice black steering column cover on either side, and you have a long screw holding the bottom in, a 14mm nut and bolt, because I've already got a lowering bracket in there, and a 10mm bolt, which actually goes in the actual top of the steering rack itself. There is actually a slot, which I'm going to show you in this top right hand corner now, of what that looks like. So you've got to push the bolt all the way through to be able to remove the steering wheel. So don't just think you can release the nut and the bolt, leave it in there and pull it out, because you just won't, because there's an indentation which I'll show you, or you're looking at up here, and that is obviously what goes on the bottom. So there we go. So I've got to take off this shroud here. I'm going to give it a lick of paint once I do take it off. I've got to get the obviously the shear bolts. I've got to get those undone to get the ignition coil off of the rack itself. Obviously I can remove that once I remove the nut inside, so we're going to do that as well. And yeah, strip it down and then slide this nice new shaft inside this black collar once all painted up. So I'm going to put you on time lapse. I'm going to strip this down, bit of speed. I'll get this painted off camera, and then we'll reassemble. And if I come across any issues or any problems, I'll obviously let you know. So let's go. Okay, so two steer racks together, as you can see there. The new Go Race one is a lot more substantial. It's a lot thicker from the very, very top here all the way down through where the original mini rack finishes here to a thinner shaft itself. I can imagine that would be, I don't know, a little bit more flexible, hence why they've gone for that stronger shaft all the way down through. This felt washer was obviously located up here, so I'm going to locate that down there. This this plastic, neoprene kind of plastic washer did sit on this engineered housing here, which sat in the end of here, which obviously that's more engineered, less engineered, should we say, less refined. I've tried fitting that over there and sliding it in, it's too big. So I'm going to discard that. I will grease this up, but it came apart really simply. I didn't need to remove the ignition barrel and do the shear bolts, which was good. It is about an inch longer, as you can see just here. It's about an inch longer. Obviously, we lose the splines that we've got here, and we lose the threaded bit, which obviously the splines is where locates the steering wheel. So that's if it's wonky, you can re-straighten it. And these obviously parallel, should we say, opposed to the vertical threads, that's to hold the nut of the steering wheel on. The ignition barrel lock, which again aren't phenomenally fantastically strong, that lines up lovely, which is great, and it was really quite simple. It just fell apart and fell, and I think it will fall back together. I am going to paint this up though and clean this up, might as well while it's all off. I did notice this bracket here is extremely loose. Now I know it's kind of a pinch bracket, I can see on there. What I might do is put a blob of weld this side, and then I can pinch that side, making sure it's in the centre, so I'll pull it in nice and tight. At least that way then this is very stout on the tube, because obviously if I don't get that squeeze fully tightened, and that's nearly touching that cage, there's still a little bit of movement in there, obviously when steering hard. So, and I can see that where it's possibly crimped the actual tube of the shaft. Obviously in the past, from it being done up super tight, there is actually some indentations just either side of the pinch area. So I might just weld this side here, yeah, and then at least that way then we can pull that in nice and tight. It does look like possibly it may have dropped a little bit as well. So there we go. That is the steering column. Just trying to think. Yeah, nice and straightforward. So I'm going to get a lick of paint onto this. I'm really looking forward to get that in. I think with the semi-dish steering wheel and that extra inch, it will pull the steering wheel out. Having said that, I did have quite a lengthy boss on this one. So it'd be interesting to see how much difference it does make. What's nice for security, I can pop that steering wheel off and take it with me. So unless you've got a set of mole grips, you'll struggle to drive the car. So let's get into that. We'll get it painted and then we'll get into reassembling. Right, painted up this shaft, looking really, really smart. Put two little blobs of weld on the back there. I'll soon find out if that was a good idea or a bad idea. If not, I'll just have to grind these off and repaint it. But yeah, looking nice and shiny. Obviously bought this back off of the actual base of it, so now I think I'll have a better clamp and a little bit less rattle, and I won't need to over tighten it, so that'll be good. Obviously the old shaft, so out with the old and in with the new. So we'll pop the old one just down there, and yeah, so we're gonna reassemble this one. I'll put you back on time lapse. I'm gonna put the collar in there, I'll grease up the top bearing, and yeah, see how it looks, and then we'll get it fitted back in the car. Okay, so when bringing the car in the garage, I made sure the steering wheel and the wheels of the car were straight as possible, but we've got this centre lug here on the actual steering column, and that will distinguish that the steering wheel is at the top. However, I will fit the steering wheel to this column, so I've got my Go Race attachment just there, and that way then I can line up the actual steering wheel onto the grooves. Hopefully, if the wheels of the car are true, then the steering wheel will be straight. If not, I'll just drive it down the road. I can just loosen that nut, take it out, that bolt out from the actual bottom collar, which I'll put a picture of that up on the top right hand corner again. and then just lift it off, rotate it round one spline and put it back on again, obviously straightening my steering wheel. So I'm going to pop you on time lapse. We're going to slot this in, get the steering wheel fitted onto here, and go from there. Okay, so I'm just going to undo this bolt here just so I can twist this up a little bit, because I've moved this bracket up the column sleeve a little bit higher. Just need to adjust the angle of that, and then we can spin that round. Pretty much, hopefully, that'll be all in. So I'll pop you on time lapse. I'm going to undo this and put the bolt through here. Do it all up nice and tight, and we should have it nice and stout in the car, and I can just check for wheel alignment and straightness on the steering wheel. So the steering wheel is now all on, which looks really cool. Then obviously we can get the wipers and bits and bobs on, because we can just simply slide that and unclick it off. Okay, one OMP and Go Race quick release mechanism all fitted. So not only did we paint up our steering column, which is looking nice and trick, we've got obviously the quick release there. The little dowel just inside there is what locates into that lug just there. Apologies, I'm using the flash on my phone. My garage lights aren't phenomenal inside my car because everything's black. And that basically locates on. So if you put that on and you don't quite put it on straight, as soon as you rotate the steering wheel, oh, make sure it's, there we go, make sure it's on. So if you were to put it on and it wasn't quite straight, like so, as soon as you turn the steering wheel, it locates, and then you're into steering. And the reason why I went away from that flat bottom steering wheel is because no steering wheel is even better, and I can get in and out nice and simply. As you can see, I'm doing it in my suit, typical me. So yeah, if you haven't checked out my CAD internal gear change quick linkage, then obviously do so. I'm going to get some videos of obviously driving this, so with the gear change, with the steering wheel, and the whole idea now my wrist is where it should be, on the top of the steering wheel, so I've got a nice driving position now. This has come out obviously just enough with that semi-dish steering wheel that I obviously ordered. As you can see just there, has just boarded out that little bit more, and the gear change, as you can see, is back quite considerably. So yeah, my whole driving position has improved tenfold. One thing I do want to do though is remove my indicators, horn and ignition switch, and I would like to try and put that maybe down here or up there. I'd like to move it somewhere in the cabin so I've got quite a naked steering column, which would look quite cool. And I'd love to get carbon weasel. There will be some kind of carbon dash where I can put a stack instrument cluster in just there, so I can see it when driving from kind of that position. Would look cool, and obviously it would go with my hopefully new engine that I'm going to get, which is the fuel injection one. So yeah, so from one OMP fitment of steering wheel and one Go Race quick release fitment on how to do so. Like I say, I've never done it before. It's actually relatively easy, so if you are thinking about it, then go ahead and do it. Ultimate security device. So don't forget that, guys, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. I would really appreciate your support. Leave any comments down below of things you think I did wrong, because I can go back and redo them. Any things that you think can help me and improve what I'm doing and improve my little Mini, as well as any ideas around any indicators / switch gear and where to find it, really, would be pretty cool. So until next time, I will see you very soon.